Brune, the country of the legendary bowman Tigrevurmud is under attack by the Zhcted army. The war results in mass destruction and our protagonist's army is defeated despite being large in number while their prince is killed. Tiger fights up to his last arrow but he is captured by the leader Eleanor of Vertalia. She does not want to waste the talent of Tiger by beheading him and tests his skill on the ground where he fails at the first 2 shots because the bow given to him is crude. Then he understands the bow and hits the running bandit in the foot from a distance of more than 300 Alsace. Unlike the other soldiers, Tiger's life is not only spared but he is also given special protocol and offered to join the Zhcted army. Being a true patriot, Tiger turns down the proposal because he has to protect his inherited territory, Alsace. Felix, the Duke of the Thénardier family, has an eye on wounded Alsace and wants to seize this opportunity to expand his territory. Loath for Tiger makes Felix's son Zion invade Alsace. Tiger's faithful servant and friend Bertrand informs him of an upcoming attack with the details of the opponent's armed force. The invaders have 3,000 troops which are further strengthened by 2 dragons. Tiger is the hope for Alsace. He requests to leave for his town to protect his people, but upon the realization that one man against the whole army is of no discussion, he asks Eleanor to lend him her troops to defend Alsace from Zion. Eleanor at first mocks him for what's going on in his head to ask help from the enemy, but later she finds a way to recruit him into her squad and agrees to lend her army on the condition to join the Zhcted army in exchange for her favor. Tita, the childhood friend of Tiger and Masha Rodent, Tiger's ally, evacuate the innocent people to keep them safe. Invasion of the town of Alsace begins and Zion's army loots and destroys the town. Zion heads to the Warren mansion where Tita is hiding to protect the family heirloom. He attacks Tita and corners her to the balcony, leaving no way for her to escape. The timely help of Tiger by shooting Zion's hand saves Tita from being raped by the asshole and she jumps off the balcony. Tiger catches her, but it is the wind magic of Eleanor that saves the falling duo. Tita shows her gratitude to Tiger for saving her by giving him the family heirloom, which is a legendary bow, the perfect gift for Tiger. Tiger recognizes the bow, and the flashback of his father talking about this antique proves the worth of the bow. Spearheading soldiers of Zion's army face great loss, but Zion manages to escape from the battlefield. As the law of the battlefield, winner has the possession of the resources of the loser, so Tiger takes up the leftover articles of Zion and plans out the strategy with Eleanor to attack from head to head with his main army. A fierce battle begins. Tiger uses his 400 soldiers to face Zion from the front under the leadership of Eleanor and his. The enemy brings a land dragon into the battle while the knights horse the flanks. As the dragon can only be killed by war maidens, Eleanor kills a dragon with the power of her sword and wind magic, while Tiger's arrows mercilessly put holes in the heads of the adversaries. At this moment, 400 men under La Militia break the pressure on the flank. In the evening there comes Tiger's time to ambush. He makes his 100 men at the rear of Zion look like 2,000 with spare horses and clay effects, and the fear of attack from the back makes Zion order his flying column to retreat, which is killed by Eleanor and Tiger's force while turning back to them. Zion tries to flee in the final battle with Tiger, but surprisingly Tiger's bow starts instructing him and he shoots the arrow at Zion. Zion is killed and the war ends. Tiger visits his villagers to check on their safety and condition. Eleanor is called to an audience with the king to explain the situation of taking her army to the enemy's land without permission. She has helped Tiger in defeating his own cruel Duke Zion, but it's not the duty of Vanadis to protect the people of Alsace. She explains her reason for recruiting Tiger and also the condition of innocent people. Eleanor meets another Vanadis Ludmilla who has been allied with Duke Felix on their terms for generations and is planning another attack to take down Alsace. This boils Eleanor's head because she is trying to destroy her efforts for the freedom of Alsace. The king's advisor Safa Obertas stops the heated argument between them. Lim escorts Tiger to Eleanor instead of to the king to discuss the current situation of coming risk for Alsace. Their meeting is interrupted by Ludmilla, who wants to have some words with Tiger alone. Eleanor and Lim don't trust Ludmilla because of her being on bad terms with Eleanor since childhood. They follow them to keep an eye on Ludmilla's movements. The group is attacked by mercenaries sent by Felix. The Ice Princess brings on her war maiden skills and her splendid attack kills all the assassins at once. Tiger is in awe of such strength. The group visits the local market of a nearby town out of the forests. Ludmilla and Tiger's friendships irritate the jealous Eleanor. Tiger tries to convince Ludmilla to not participate in the upcoming battle and join hands with them instead of Felix. Although they have been getting along pretty well, Ludmilla declines their proposal. Tiger, Eleanor, and Lim decide to invade Ludmilla's castle. They head towards Tatra Mountain. Ludmilla's castle is built in such a way that it has a super strong defense. She has already frozen all the ways to reach the castle. Ludmilla is also ready for their attack and has gathered her army in the plain outside the fort. A great battle of 2 days ends with no result, while on the third day, Ludmilla's troops are not present on the battlefield anymore. Elaine has a very short time limit as her soldiers are affected by the cold of the woods and she doesn't know the secret passage to Ludmilla's castle. Tigre sets on the journey to find out the path in disguise of a hunter wearing bear skin. He meets Ludmilla in the forest, but she doesn't recognize him, and by following her footsteps he discovers the only way to her fort. On his instructions, Elaine reaches the target point, but the castle gate is locked by magic. Her power of wind can't get through that alone, so she combines her powers with Tigre and they manage to break the gate. Everyone witnesses the great duel between the two war maidens who have had their fury for one another since childhood. Tigre tries to resolve the matter by talking to them, and after a long conversation, he finally manages to make Ludmilla understand their situation and not support Felix. Winding up the mess, they go to see Hugh's augur, who is an Earl of Brune and a friend of Masha. According to the information, the king considers Tigre a traitor and has sent the Black Knight Roland to wipe out him and Elaine. It is disclosed that the knight is given false orders by Felix and Duke Gainlon, as they have taken over the castle due to the king's ailment. Sophia is sent by the king to warn Tigre of the upcoming danger of Roland. Roland is the legendary fighter of the king who has been serving his majesty for justice. He is bestowed with the Holy Sword. Elaine and Roland's forces face each other. In a brief duel away from the main forces, Roland seems to overpower Elaine, but the timely help of Tigre saves her. The sweep cut of Roland's blade injures Tigre severely, and it seems that his shot toward the sky is a missed one, but the returning arrow kills Roland's horse, which stunned him of his archery skills. Sophia appears on the battlefield to give Elaine time to take the injured Tigre back to camp. At the end of the day, both parties retreat to resume the battle the next morning. Elaine asks Tida to heal Tigre while she leaves for the battlefield the next morning. Tigre comes to his senses as he notices his bow is asking him to visit a mysterious ancient temple. Tigre and Tida set for the journey, and there they meet a spirit who possesses Tida's body and offers Tigre to enhance the powers of his bow on the condition to shoot at Tida. Tigre clears his feelings and sets the power of his shot so carefully that it hits Tida and breaks the possession, but stops before hurting her. Spirit is impressed by this, and as per its agreement it boosts the bow's power. Meanwhile, Elaine and Sophia use their air and light magic at once against Roland's, but he stops the attack and frees himself. Tigre approaches them at this moment, and after his first potent attack is blocked, he shoots with all his stamina, which worsens his wound as well. Roland takes the mighty shot head-on, and as the result of a massive explosion, it is revealed as the jaw-dropping moment that the second attack is also stopped. But here comes a twist. The power of the attack has exhausted Roland to such an extent that it makes him unable to lift his arms, and he surrenders. These are the last words Tigre hears before collapsing. After the defeat, Roland goes back to investigate the actual situation inside the castle to inform Tigre and Elaine about this. The defeated warrior is not welcomed and dies with his head held high as he is killed on the order of Gainlon. This news creates a commotion in the army, and his men ally with Elaine against the betrayal. Felix is not happy about Roland's death. Elaine gets the emergency call for assistance from Sasha, her Vanadis friend, so she leaves 2,000 men under Tigre. The unrest at the southern border by the invasion of the Muzinal army attracts the attention of Tigre, and he moves to the south to fix the situation where the people of Brune are forcibly enslaved by the enemy. Tigre decides to attack in phases to reduce the number of substantial military, and after a few days, his surprise attack hunts down the enemy general. The opposing troops retreat and leave the slaves, but it is only the spearheading group of them, not the main force. The actual number of Muzinals is 30,000, which rises to eradicate the force under Tigre, and they eventually are capable of doing so. Just before the war starts, the flags of Ulatniz under Ludmilla prove to be the rim of hope for Tigre, who has come to aid him in this crucial moment. Sasha is the undefeated Vanadis who is capable of facing Elaine and Ludmilla at the same time and putting them into their places. She has the dragon gears of double daggers. Due to her ailment, she is unable to defend her territory, and this is the thing that makes her call Elaine for help. Elaine is ready to help her friend no matter what it costs. She faces Elizaveta Formina, the Vanadis with the power of lightning in her whip. Both use their legendary attack against each other, and as the dust clears, it is revealed that Elizabeth is drawn back in the collision while Elaine has stood fast to her steps. Elizaveta promises a truce agreement as she doesn't want to lose her force against Elaine. She uses the situation of the south where Elaine has to head back without delay, and fighting against her would only cost her precious time. Being fully aware of the crisis, Eleanor deals with her with the additional condition of Elizaveta making a sincere apology to Sasha for the distress. In Brune, Tigre and Ludmilla prepare themselves for both cases. They write down a war contract as well as make a strategy to fight. Their message is rejected by the Muzinal General-in-Chief, Commander Shahim, who chooses aggression. As the battle begins, Ludmilla and Tigre use a small number of troops to get through Muzinal's defense and approach General Shahim, but as they advance, their large number of enemies proves to be hard to handle, resulting in slipping the battlefield from their hands. Tigre's army has been fighting for a long time without rest, thus resulting in their ultimate exhaustion in war, and they start to collapse one by one. The results are favorable for Shahim, and he takes the full benefit of the golden opportunity to wipe out his opponents. In the moment of dismay when the forces are cornered, Mash's reinforcement brings the lively soul into them. War extends to a large scale. Shahim is not happy to lose such a great number of his warriors in a potentially useless battle for him only to satisfy his ego. He decides to withdraw and signs the peace agreement. Enemy retreats and the heroes rejoice in their victory on behalf of Roland for Brune. His death was the major cause for his enemies to dare to attack at the southern border. The discussion of Eleanor and Tigre while planning out the showdown against Felix is interrupted by the girl who was rescued from Muzinils by Tigre a few days back. She claims to be the royal Princess Regine of Brune who is supposed to have died. Tigre recognizes her as a childhood friend and believes her words, but Eleanor finds her suspicious and asks her to prove her royalty by opening the special door which is meant to be opened only by majesties. The support of the princess gives them the upper hand to enter the capital and claim the throne by defeating Felix. The news of the princess supporting Tigre triggers Felix, and he decides to stop them on the way to the catacomb. If they reach the capital, he would be unable to control things in the presence of the right heir to the throne. A fierce battle between the two parties erupts and the group faces Felix's army and dragons. Ludmilla and Eleanor work as a team for the first time, and they are the only ones capable of hunting down the giant monsters. A black dragon in the centered position gives them a tough time. His armor is quite hard and his power overwhelms the girls. Ludmilla distracts the dragon while Eleanor stabs him from the back, and her air magic legendary attack creates immense pressure inside that bursts out the dragon. Their teamwork defeats the giant beast. The group continues their way to the catacomb. Tigre, Ludmilla, Princess Regine, and Bertrand head to the palace through a secret cave, but they find Felix already there waiting for them. Eleanor fights against Felix while Tigre faces the knight. The safety of the princess is the prime priority for everyone, so Bertrand tries to escort her out of the cave. The combat is interrupted as the cave begins to shake. Eleanor stops fighting Felix and rushes to take the princess out of the cave, while Tigre provides everyone enough time by engaging the opponents. As he tries to get out at the last moment, the knight attacks him, and just before he is being beheaded, Bertrand jumps in front of him, saving his life at the cost of his own. The cave collapses and the knight is crushed to death. Tigre is still alive, and he finds Bertrand, who is taking his last breaths. His unwavering faithfulness to Tigre makes him emotional, and he shoots an immense arrow that exits the outside world. Eleanor and the princess reach the exit point and rescue Tigre. The legendary fighters come to know that the king is still alive, but he has a very short time as the result of being poisoned by Gainlon. His last wish is to see his daughter, and he is a prisoner in his castle. Elon cheers Tigre for the final battle and explains the broader picture of the attack as the trade and benefits by taking over Leitmeritz and Alsace and joining them. The group decides to fight the final battle against Felix from the front that very night. Unlike his son, he is quite an experienced warrior. The war starts in the wild of Marinel. The combined army of Zhcted of Eleanor, Brune of Roland, and Ulatmiz of Ludmilla have the upper hand in the battle. At first, it seems to be a trap, but in reality, Felix does not have any time to plan any tactics, so he decides to face them head-on. The final duel between Tigre and Felix. Tigre gets overwhelmed by his feelings at losing Bertrand makes him turn his weapon into toxic form, but a punch from Eleanor brings him back to his senses. She advises him to fight sensibly and control his powers instead of being controlled by them. Tigre shoots a single arrow, making the wind his ally without Eleanor's help, and that passes the defense of Felix, who has come to avenge his son. The arrow hits right into his head, and he does. The battle that started from Denonit ends in Catacomb. The heroes are welcomed with open hands in the city, and there take place various agreements for development and peace between Zhcted, Brune, and Leitmeritz. This also changes the fate of Alsace. The king gives Tigre the title of the Moonlight Warrior.